January 6th. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Take a few breaths in and long breaths out. Let's just settle. Maybe this is the first time you've had a chance to meditate today, or even get quiet. So let's together as a group take an exhale and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep that cycling breath going. It's quiet, it's slow, and it breathes. I'd like you to imagine that your breath is breathing you. Start to see the inhales and the exhales. The energy that is breathing you is one with you. Imagine, sense, see, or feel. The only real energy that ever really is true is this I am consciousness. The I am. And just breathe into that. The capital I am is the only energy that is real. And see if you can find that with this breath. There. Good. Me and my breath are one. Me and this I am energy are one. There you go, good. After a few more breaths, when you're ready, starting to come back to the moment, back into the room, knowing it's brighter out here. Open your eyes when you're ready. The best picture ever. I opened my eyes and I saw Arthur sitting on Nina's lap, and he's just like meditating with his eyes open. It's the best pictures ever. Welcome. Good morning, guys. Good to see everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome. So we're on the month of abundance, and I was tuning into what to teach about today. So we're just going to start with something really simple. And remembering when I'm teaching these community calls, I'll typically teach for whatever, 10, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know how long I'll teach for. And then open up to Q&A, but you can ask questions as I go to. If you're in the New Year's call that I did on Saturday or Sunday, can't remember which day it was, I was describing this visual of the ocean. Okay. So the ocean represents the God force. And one of the waves represents Linda, one wave represents Troy, one represents Lindsay, and so on. So each wave is part of this bigger ocean. Remembering, I use the word God, the divine, the creator, the universe interchangeably. So substitute whatever word you prefer. So you are not separate from this bigger energy. And the joke that I used on this call was that, but the problem is that you have a suitcase of like, and inside the suitcase are like t-shirts and shorts and jeans, and the inside the suitcase represents your baggage. That says you're the ego. That says you're the story. That says you're lacking. And our job, if we want to create the abundance or the health or the well-being that's in the ocean, we have to unpack the suitcase. And the lighter the suitcase gets, the more you can ride the ocean. And so when you're having a health problem, an abundance, and because we're doing abundance this month, an abundance issue, it's because you've got shit in that suitcase that needs to be unpacked. And one of the things in the suitcase for a lot of people in this class specifically is, who am I? I am nothing. A reminder, guys, we talk about sometimes the 3 beliefs of the ego. Ultimately, all of this comes down to the fact that you, as an ocean wave, thinks you're separate from the God consciousness of the truth of who you are. But the fact of the matter is, when I was doing that breath meditation at the beginning, and you all centered and get quiet, peace, joy, the energy of the I am is the truth of who you are. This little body called Anu, this little body called Tina, is not who you are. And it really is about this morning when I woke up and I was kind of in a mini meditative state. I'll just briefly go on a sideline. Yesterday, I spent pretty much the whole day from 6 a.m. till when I went to bed, on and off dealing with an emergency crisis for one of my clients who had done too much ayahuasca. And he was way out here in the heavens in Peru and just could not get back into his body. So we got him into a hospital. Long story, from 6 a.m. till midnight. It was on and off calls all day dealing with us, helping him. And it was wild because when he was out, like he basically had a bad ayahuasca experience the last day. And I've never done ayahuasca, just so y'all know. I'm sure some of you have. He's done it lots of times, but he just had an interesting trip the last one. And when he was out here in the heavens, he described seeing God. And wouldn't that be amazing? And he's like, I'm not this body called Joe. I'm not this body called Jill. And it was understanding that if you can bring that awareness here without a drug, is even better. Not that the drugs are wrong, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't functional for him to be out there and here all the time. So my point being, if you can get that there's no, like this, and I'm going to piss some of you off, and that might be okay or not. The little I versus the big I, which we talked about 2 weeks ago, the little I is the ego identification, and the ego loves this body, this hair, this name, and so on, versus the big I is the ocean wave, the God self. So the more often you can take, the picture I woke up to this morning when I was meditating was, it's like the ego, the little I. It's like if anyone's had a dog, especially chocolate labs, all they love to do is eat. All they love to give them a piece of meat, they eat. Give them this, they eat. I used to get up, we had to put our puppy down about a year and 2 years ago. She was 14. She was amazing. She was a chocolate lab. I'm a dog freak. And I could not get up in the kitchen. I could not go get a snack without her running up to me. Because anyone relate to that? Like she'd be fast asleep. I'd make pancakes and she'd like show up. I'm like, you were fast asleep. I gotta go. What just happened? Right? That's the ego. The ego is constantly going, oh, feed me, feed me, feed me. Who just moved my hair? Who just moved my hair? I could say little I Divi moved my hair, or I could say the consciousness of the divine wanted my hair to be moved. But the more I take the food away from the dog that's trying to feed the little I, the more space there's for the big I. Make sense? But the little I, as soon as you saw that you had a hand, which typically happens, when you're a day old, you're like, oh, look, I have a hand, right? Then you're like 9 months old and you start to crawl and you're like, oh, look, I can move, right? If we look at Presley's little boy or little baby, sorry, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, we're like, look, the baby's like looking, and look at Arthur, like they're in that subtle state. These little guys are in these little subtle states where they're noticing they're human. Got it? They're like, oh, look, I have a hand. Oh, look, I have an arm. And the more you identify with that stuff, the more you feed the ego, you feed the dog. And the more you pull away from that and go, oh no, I am the I am, and that's a consciousness of the mind, the more you feed that. I'm going to teach one more thing before I open to Q&A questions. They're saying this is the last thing they want me to teach. Because everybody right now is in this kind of manifestation. You might have done the vision board for 2025. You might have written down your intentions. Beautiful, amazing, incredible. The one thing they really, really want you to get today is the only reason you want those desires is because it gets you closer to your God self. Think of it. If a 19-year-old wants a Ferrari, and some of you know I have a 19-year-old son who does not want a Ferrari, thank God. But the reason a 19-year-old wants a Ferrari is because when he gets into it and he puts his foot on the gas pedal, for that second, he's like, I'm connected to God. I know that sounds really weird, but there's this exhilaration of, oh, I am. Has anyone had that experience? Like you get that thing that you want so badly, and then you have it for a second. Like you get that Armani suit, which I've never had, and you're like, oh, that little glimmer for 1 second is your connection to the ocean. So I don't care if it's an Armani suit, a Ferrari, 10,000 clients. What you think you want as your desire is actually your connection to God. So if you can make that connection to the divine or the ocean, the most important thing, then that desire shows up. But what most humans do is they think the desire is outside of them. It's outside of them. I have to go get it. I have to go get it. I have to go get it. But you can remember every time you breathe in consciously and you're connected to the heavens, you are connected. And I said this is the last thing I'll say. And I teach this a lot in my my other containers, especially the return to self container. The more you focus on, the more you get. So I remember a few years ago when I used to teach this class called ICT, we used to have them create an Excel spreadsheet for them to write down every day, every week, every month what they manifested. And Linda, I don't know if we did it with you guys, I don't remember. But if you write down what you manifest in a year, like 25 cents at a car meter, $4, somebody bought you a coffee. You have a Starbucks app and you get your free coffee. Write that shit down. Because the more you pay attention to that, you will be blown away as to how much abundance is out there. When I go to a Canucks game and they sell me a 52 ticket and I could win $1 million, it's like, whoo, $1 million is it's right around my energy field. It's understanding that what you focus on, you make bigger, but the ego that knows that there's this hand is perpetually focusing on lack since the time you're little, right? Because what are we taught when we're little? You have to go out and make sure that you have a job, that you make money, to be safe, to be da da da. So this is like a rewiring of that concept, and it takes a bit of time because the ego's thought layers are so deep, and it just takes. And so I really suggest, especially if you've been in the school container for a while, connecting the abundance month that we're doing right now to the forgiveness month that we did in November. Because somebody posted today, I think it was Taylor, she posted today some wins that she's been having since she's been in the school. She's also in the healing lab. She's had this massive win, and she realizes that forgiveness is a day-to-day practice, moment-to-moment practice. So if you can connect the abundance work with the forgiveness work, forgiveness and gratitude are the two most important practices. If you only learn one thing from me ever in the time that we hang out together, they're the two most important practices. Because if you think you are separate from the ocean, that needs forgiveness. If you think you have to do something, that needs forgiveness. Because all you are is the I am. I mean, just look at like Nina's son. Look at Presley's kid. Oh my God, they're so cute, by the way. They're not sitting here going, what do I need to do? And they say with spiritual development, all of it is taking your mind back to childhood. If you can get your mind back to a childlike state, that's spiritual development. And reminding you, the last thing I'll say, the only thing you will die with is your spiritual development. You can't take your car, your house. I can't take my favorite sweatshirt with me. No, can't do it. What you can take with you, is your spiritual development. And that's the most important thing. And your spiritual development is moment to moment to moment awareness. Are you going to time out there? Comments, questions, coaching. What's coming up for you guys? Nina, I got to tell you, you look so relaxed today. I don't know if it's just the camera, but you look like you're in Zen.
I think it's the angle, but I am relaxed today. I mean, I do also have the tube of the YouTube on because Arthur wanted to watch it, but I just gave into it and it's allowing us to listen and it's nice.
I gave in like every moment I had to when I still give in.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, no. And it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Amazing.
I'm not judging it. It's nice. He's relaxed. I mean, actually, even if I didn't have it on, he loves listening to your voice, actually. It's the one thing where he's not running around. He'll like sit and listen.
It is a compliment.
Yeah.
I love that. Good to see you. All right, start with questions. Presley, do you want to start us off?
Hello.
How are you? How's the saga?
I feel like I've been hit with a fucking bus. Like my back is like aching and my like legs are aching and like my headache. I got the migraine last night and I just like, this is okay. Accepted the migraine to come and was able to put my kids to bed, even though like I think I resist it. Whenever I get a headache like that, I resist it and I just like think the world's gonna end. And but it was okay and I got sleep. But then I woke up at like maybe midnight. Ollie was still awake. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like you got school today. She's like, oh, I'm just getting things ready for school. I'm like, okay, like, no, it's bedtime. Like, shh, go to sleep. And then she's like, where's dad? And I was like, oh. okay, I don't know where your dad is, but I instantly got like this, my stomach dropped, and I like the replay of like what he had said to me the other day. And then I had like I texted him, you know, and then I was worried. I was like worried. I'm like, oh my God, like why is he not messaging me back? Like he's probably just in the outside in the studio, like drumming, like, but this is weird. And I it's like the sensitive in me,
Yeah.
right? Like it absorbing the story. Yeah. So it took me a little bit of time to like just I did a meditation and they just said, he's fine. He's fine. It's okay. And then I was able to go back to sleep. He ended up coming back to bed. He's like, holy crap, I didn't even realize what time it was. I was playing with my drone. I'm like, I knew you were doing something. Like, I shouldn't be worrying. But yeah.
I'm going to coach you a little bit, Preston. I hope this helps you. First off, I want to compliment you how far you've come. I want you to
Thank
own.
you.
Sometimes we're doing this work, and I've known you for, I don't know, 9 months or I don't know how long I've known you. You blow my mind. Okay. So honor that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You went through a lot of hardship the last few weeks, right? With everything going on
Yeah.
in your community, and you're on the other side now. So own that, hun. So, because a lot of times we're in this work, we'll make leaps. And we're like, but I'm not there yet. Like Presley, you're a different human.
Yeah.
And those contrasts, you know, as much as we're like, get through one contrast, we'll get like a rift and then we'll get another contrast. The one thing I would love you to become, like for specifically for you, but really everybody, it's being a little bit more diligent with your thoughts. Because the more practice, diligence, and this is more of a masculine, like you know, how there's masculine and feminine techniques.
Mm-hmm.
A feminine technique would be something like forgiveness, intuition. A masculine technique is diligence, right? Masculine technique says, I am going to direct my thoughts this way. Does that make sense? So I want you to be a little more purposeful for how you direct your thoughts. Okay. Like I am only going to think that I'm a kick-ass wife. I'm going to think that my partner chooses me every single day. Not that I rely on it. I'm going to believe that I am an amazing mom. And like I want you to really be directive for your thoughts. And my sense is your migraine was you went through like literally a hellstorm the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the after effect of that can be things like headaches, migraines. Do you know what I mean? And I want
Yes.
you to honor that. And I like we were texting yesterday, it's not a bad thing, it's an energy movement. And just try to get quiet and more still inside and recognize. I don't think you're very kind to yourself sometimes in terms of how much you've been through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I think I get stuck on like shaming myself.
And
Like,
shame,
why are you still doing this? Why are you still doing this?
and that's super interesting because that's what your guide, that's why they first said, tell her how far she's come, Dibby. Tell her how far. Because I've seen you before Whistler, I saw you at the Whistler retreat, I've seen you in the healing lab, like, Jesus Christ, girl. Like how much you have changed. And so shame, okay, so remember, here is the false you,
Mm-hmm.
little I am, and here's the divine I am.
Mm-hmm.
Shame is focusing on the false you. Shame, I mean, we're taught in religion, society, culturally, a million reasons. But this is not who you are. So I want you to spend some time forgiving yourself for those thoughts and being more diligent of who you really are, like that masculine. I don't teach a lot of the masculine techniques, but they're really important, right? Like, no, I am this, this, this. How does that fit?
It's it's like when I was in the healing or when I was at the retreat, I had to try and bring on like my feminine side of the things. And it's like trying to balance them and use them at the same time is like
Totally.
mind fucking me.
Yeah.
I've been noticing like I especially when I go to bed that I'm getting like twitching on like my feminine side, my left side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it starting to work now? Like, is
You're
that what
so
that
cute.
means?
The energy is moving. The energy is moving. But I want you to have a little bit more of that masculine. I am amazing. And I really want you to honor how far you've come and how much you've shifted. Right? Maybe, like I said, you know how we had you write a letter to Coulter, maybe write a letter yourself and see how far you've come because I don't think you see it. I see
I
it.
don't.
I
I
see it.
like don't
I see it.
until well, when I said to you, like, I had to fuck up some like really big friendships
Yeah.
of my own. and like act like the victim. And like I was like cleaning like after our call and just got this hit. It's like, you fucked up really bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be all right. Like,
Good.
hopefully she figures her shit out. But my friends also stepped away from me. Like, it's okay. Everybody's gonna be okay.
See, and that aha moment, that you want to honor. Got it?
Yeah.
Because you would have ignored it before. Spirit is talking to us 24/7. That's a big part of what I teach 24/7. I'm just a voice for it. Got it? And the more you hear it, the more you hear your own. So applaud yourself.
Okay.
Nice work, Presley.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Oh, you're muted, hon. You're muted. But. Still muted. There you are.
Thank you for waiting. Thank you. Hey, so good. I have a question.
Go for it.
I was so shocked, as you know, on Saturday when my grandfather,
Right. I remember this now. Yeah.
spirit guide, um, he was the beginning of, and probably behind him and my father, behind all of evil. It was uh, really deep stuff, and I only started finding out about it inside me when my spirit grew big enough, I guess, to take it when I was 20 years ago. So, anyway, it's been a long 20 years. Anyway, I did almost fall over and I just thought, oh, I don't know. So, I've really been dealing with the forgiveness thing. And finally, that night, I sat down and did some talking, basically to him asking questions. I think my question for you at the time that I wanted to ask, did he really just say he apologized? And did he really just only say he was an ass? That was my question for you. Did you filter that?
No,
Did
I
you?
didn't filter it at all. I don't filter when I'm tuning in at all. Just so you know, I can't. I'm not allowed to. I've learned over the years that filtering doesn't work. He just said to me, no, I didn't. That's all he said. And I'll tell you what he just said to me just now. He was not up to par to be either human or to be a man. He had a lot of internal beliefs that were not serving him. And that was the source of all of his pain. And he's showing it to me right in his upper to mid stomach area and in his throat and in his neck, showing me different areas in his body that he held a lot of his pain and his lower back. He just keeps bouncing areas in his body. He had a lot of anger that was stored. Sorry, what's his name again?
Gus.
Gus. Yeah, he just said to me I was a jerk. So I didn't filter anything, and I'm not filtering anything right now.
Yeah. I think that was part of it. I'm thinking you did all of that, and now you're just only like you're saying something as mild as an ass. Like, but anyway, it was the thing I needed also the awakening for the anger that's still inside of me, which we discussed, touched a little bit on Saturday. Um, yeah.
And Deborah, sometimes in my experience from doing this work for a long time, this is what he wants me to say too. You have, like, sometimes they'll, and Divvy's experience too, they'll only give you a little bit so you can start to process. If they kind of gave you a 300-page discourse, that doesn't let you to move through the emotions. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
They only give us what we can handle. Like what I hear from my relatives and ancestors now is very different than when I first started. And I was like, oh, okay. But like you'll only give you little bits at a time. Does that resonate a bit?
Yeah, and I knew you stopped, and I knew it was more public
Yeah.
than what I would feel on this one. And I kept thinking, how can I contact you? How can I write you and just say, did he really just only say he was an ass? Like, because how can you do all that? And um, yeah, so that was, but it did help me to finally start and journaling, actually chatting with him and saying, what did you think here? What did you think here? But I realized even how abruptly you stopped, that it was probably for my own good, so that I
Yeah. And
Like,
that I have no control over. Do you know what I
nope.
mean? That
Yeah.
and I think it really is like, so I'm gonna use the teaching point. I hope this helps a lot of people. So in our lives, especially when we enter spiritual development, I'm gonna use things to describe, because I love talking with my hands. We have this and we have this. These are two of my son's candles or whatever. We say that this is the good people and this is the bad people. And the more spiritual development you do, eventually you have to go, well, that's not true. I
Yeah.
have to start to see that there is no good and bad.
Yeah.
And that's where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And not everybody's ready for that right away. It takes time. Right. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay, if I can, and the bad good is the ego's protective mechanism to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And I think you're ready to move that next phase of the journey.
Yeah. I feel like and that was basically what I wanted to say. I didn't know how I could contact you. I wanted to honor your space, but just this today is, thank you
Of course.
for answering me and just letting me verbalize. And yes, even just journaling last night and the night before, I can see where I'm already have quite quickly moved into a level of forgiveness. There's certainly more, but I think it's been quite dramatic. Yeah.
And what starts to happen, because they want me to speak to this, if I'm forgiving this that my father did to me, this iPad container, if I'm forgiving him for what he did to me, I'm actually forgiving him myself. I think I taught that in the forgiveness challenge. So I'm forgiving this out there. I'm actually forgiving that in myself too.
Yeah.
Resonate?
Totally. I get that. And I think that's probably too why I could move as quickly into the forgiveness. Just because I know it's a release that I'm even longing to have with my own adult kids, you know.
I love that. I love that. And then you'll find that as you heal that in you, that relationship actually changes. I'm sure you know that. Like
Yeah.
it evolves, it grows, right? Because
Yeah.
we're letting go of our stuff, and then they can show up differently, which is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Even not to go on too long, but
Okay,
even
jump on.
when you told me the same thing that you repeated this morning, write out every little thing, cent that you saved, you know, or whatever. I loved your hockey ticket
Yeah,
analogy. It may be mine. It may be mine.
yeah,
But anyway, even that alone, what it shifts in us, right?
totally.
But when I started doing that, I'm basically out of relationship with all my 5 siblings
Right.
and their spouses, just because of what happened to me, and they have no idea. And my dad, I think I mentioned this once before. My dad in Saskatchewan can take you out of a will,
Right.
and and I really think he just did that because he was afraid of my voice, or when my voice would finally be able to be spoken. Because I've had more people tell me that I've got a chokehold on my throat chakra. But anyways, where was I going with that? So then my brother out of the blue called me
Wow.
and said, "Oh, like we just got this huge sum, in November, and now we're getting another like 100,000 now, so now I want to send you a little bit of money." But I think basically they were all sworn to not do that. So anyway, all of that to say the abundance, even the potential of him changing his mind was huge.
And I want you to own that I have goosebumps everywhere. You had to shift something in your energy for that to occur.
I realized that I have been doing a lot of work,
Right.
and that actually was what shifted it, likely for him.
100%. I'll give you a small but silly example. There was a client at a workshop I taught in May here in Vancouver, and her kids were there at the same workshop. And apparently there was a lot of guilt she had that she wasn't a good enough mother for the kids, blah, blah, blah. The kids are like in their 20s. She's in her 60s, I think. I did some work. I don't remember what I did. I did some work for her to shift some of that guilt. 4 weeks or 8 weeks later, she won $75,000 in a lottery ticket thing. And the moment she got it, she dropped to her knees and she realized it was because she had dropped that guilt. And it was the first time she ever took her kids on a Christmas vacation. So there she took her kids away this year.
Nice.
But it is amazing when we shift something in us, what happens in our bank accounts, what happens in our health. So I want you to honor, Deborah, that you dropping that wall You doing that forgiveness work, even if your mind doesn't know why it's doing it, is creating miracles.
Okay. That's great. And thank you for the forgiveness month, the gratitude month, and in the gratitude month, and this is my last point, I'll say, in the gratitude month, I thought before even when I started, I really know gratitude. I love living in joy. I know gratitude, but yeah, I was pretty shocked how little when I did the daily things, like my mind would just be blank, and I thought, wow, I never thought thought I was this way. So yes, I've got lots of learning to do, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Love that. Hey, Tina. Are you there? Tina, are you there? There you are.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my cat was being quite vocal, so um well the question I have is I'm really loving this abundance challenge, and I'm really loving the connection I can put with gratitude to abundance. Like I'm so grateful of the abundance of, but I do feel I'm maybe a little slack in the forgiveness area.
Okay.
Which is showing up in my sessions, like forgiveness. And I'm just like, I just think it's hokey. Um,
That's fair.
that's where I'm kind of like, I really struggle. Like, I don't mind the Ho'oponopono prayer, but I really struggle with the I'm sorry part.
Sure.
Because I've done that forever with men, and I'm like I'm done.
Right.
And so I don't know. Grab my arm. So that it's funny she did that right here. God, there might be something there. Yeah, so I don't really know how to kind of meld it.
Okay.
I guess I don't feel like something's happening either. So then it's a little harder. Like gratitude, I can feel the experience of right. But forgiveness, I don't. So I don't know. Anything you got on that?
Yeah, just a small, what they're showing me is just a small point. I just keep hearing the same words. I'm sorry for forgetting that I am the I am and that nothing can hurt me. That one for you. It's coming through my throat. Forgetting that I am the I am and that perception that something could hurt me. Let me forgive that. That's all. Right there, right there, right there. I just felt in your body. Feel that?
Yeah, so the perception that I can be heard.
You know, I just felt it move from your solar plexus.
So even if I can't really feel it in the body, there is an experience going on in my body energetically.
I felt, yeah, exactly. I felt in your solar plexus something let go when I said it, and it was like, oh, yeah, there, release.
Okay, because I can forget. No, so here we go. Here's the question that I am the I am. So the first I am would be a small I, and the second I am would be the big I, correct?
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Okay. All right. Perception that I can be heard. Okay. So then, so I don't really, I feel like I have more gratitude than forgiveness. Like that seems to be an easier thing for me during the day. So what if I was just to put aside 5 minutes an hour or something and do a forgiveness practice? Like, is that like
Perfect.
something like that?
Man, you don't have to, like, you know, you said there's nothing going on where nothing's activated, which is perfect. So what you could start doing though, if you really want to take on the forgiveness, if let's say somebody was standing next to you, I'm making this up, and they were having a bad day. If again, A Course in Miracles teaches us, and this is a little bit more advanced for a lot of people, if somebody next to me is having a bad day, because the concept from A Course in Miracles is that all minds are joined, then that person and I in that moment are one.
Okay.
Let me forgive the thought that something is wrong right now, that which is what's going on in them.
Okay.
See how you can use that all day, every day?
Yes.
Let's just say I'm standing next to somebody who's like, and they're having a lack consciousness. Let me forgive this because that must be in me as well.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that could be then, so they're just mirroring me.
Yeah, 100%. That's it.
Because I know when I pass like a street people, I'm just sending them love now rather than sort of all the stuff that I have.
Yeah.
So I could just, so they're just kind of like showing up. So I can actually forgive that in me.
100%. Super easy.
Okay. Yeah, I can I can grip on that one. Yep. Thank you.
Tina, thanks. Hey, Shannon, how are you? It's great to see you.
So I have been playing with something and I'm not quite sure. There's a couple things. I've been playing with something. I was listening to a podcast this morning and I was walking and I'm like constantly trying to like embody a healthier version of myself.
Right.
Um, and this usually happens when I either turn a corner or walk across a crosswalk. I get like really discombobulated. So I'll like veer out of the crosswalk. Like I won't be able to keep a straight line. And I'm having a hard time embodying, I like, I'll look at something and I'll just say, I'm grateful that that my legs are walking today. I'm
Right.
grateful that, the sun is out. And I do feel that despite all of the other symptoms that are happening.
Right.
But two things that are going on. So I'm having a little trouble embodying.
Okay.
More of like that healthy version. I'll be like, I think I mentioned this the other day. Like I'm trying to play with that healthy like timeline or that other version of me that's living somewhere and trying to envision that. And then like just yesterday was completely out, like head pain, dizzy. Like when I would lie down, I'd get quick vertigo, quick spins. And just living in that dichotomy of like the two.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a question there, but just more so advice. I also like I genuinely feel like something is going on with my inner ear, but an ENT can't really see it.
Right.
I am doing vestibular rehab, and they have had me doing 10 minutes to 20 minutes of movement 3 times a week, like Pilates or yoga or something. But I'm actually finding that movement, whether it's 10 minutes or 15, it's making me feel worse.
Okay.
Even though my muscle memory loves it, like my muscle memory is good.
Right.
It just does something after either that feels like a histamine dump. And it makes me just way dizzier, like way weaker. Yeah, I think I'm just dealing with a few things while still like trying to like let my mind wander to the healthy version and like try that on for size.
Yeah.
While still dealing with something like very real.
Okay. So if I'm just going to purely approach it from pure metaphysical. I know you knew I was going to say that, right?
Yeah.
First thing that your guides are saying is they're happy that you're holding a bit more of the I am fine.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than in the future timeline, and I know you know this, it's just like right now. Because so remember we talk about, and this one takes a while for the ego or the thought process to get, but they talk about the ego, which is the false self, and then the divine I am, which is the real self. But they talk about the human being, this being an illusion, this all being a dream. Those are the words that are often used. And they're annoying words because it's real. We're not denying it, you're experiencing it. But what we really want to focus on is the reality that the I am in me is fine. And when you use what I saw a picture of is when you use the word histamine, all of which are words I know. They're saying they showed me a picture of if you could just try maybe for 3 weeks, 2 weeks even. They showed me a picture of a line through the word, like I just saw histamine and I saw a line through it. They're saying ask her just like I was doing with Presley, if you can be a little bit more diligent with your thoughts. I'm not even going to use those words.
Okay.
Because that's taking the rabbit, because you've tried that, right? I'm taking the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what's going on in the ego construct, which is an illusion. And I know that there's a part of me that is fine. And I'm going to try to find that a little bit more often in just a feeling place right now. Does that make sense? And then, like I was saying with Presley, I always think of when the body is moving through something. Okay, this is just energy moving. I'm okay. But constantly going back to the I am. Like I want a little bit more masculine in you of I am. I wouldn't be surprised if you find a quicker kind of shift back to the centering. Does that make sense? How does that feel?
Yeah.
Stand up.
Yeah, I think I've told you before that like weird and that like weird like gaslighting I feel
Yeah, I
saying
know.
I am fine, you know, while still having to do the physical therapy, while still having to do all of those things. Um, but I can play with that more.
You're calling on the metaphysical masculine to say, show me the reality where I am healthy.
Hmm.
Show me the reality where, and I'm saying I am in a capital letters. I am healed. I know that this is an illusion from all the fears that I've had because I've watched as my emotions have changed. I've gotten better sometimes and that, right? So I am going to know that there's a part of me, the I am, that is fine right now. Right there, right there, right there. I always say right there because I can feel you settling into it. It's just like it landed right in your upper thoracic area, and just try to hold that more often.
Okay.
How does that feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of love, Shannon. So much love. Hey, Louise, it's so good to see you. Oh, you're muted, hon. You're muted.
Success. Hi. Um, there's a few people with hands up. Shall I do this tomorrow to save time?
Why would I leave it to a UK woman to say that?
I'm just conscious of
Go
time is
for it.
limited, so I can just. Are you sure? It's totally fine.
Strangle you.
Okay. I know. Sorry. Oh, stop
I
saying
might
sorry.
use
Stop
that
saying it.
later on, but not right now. How's that?
Right. Cool.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Right. So it's a couple of things, but I think they're connected. It feels like they're connected. So I on the call on Saturday, the New Year call,
Yeah.
when we were doing stuff and connecting with sort of Divine Mother.
Yeah.
I really struggled with that. It's never an easy one for me. The other spirit guides, I can see them. The clairvoyant stuff, I think, is coming brilliantly. I can see things clearly now, so that's really exciting. I know it's brilliant. So I can see the old fellas, the old blokes, but I don't really see many women. But whatever. Happy to see something. So that's great. But the Divine Mother stuff,
Right.
I can normally get there eventually, but I just couldn't.
Sure.
And then on the last meditation that you got us to do,
Right.
where you said to look into her eyes to do that bit, and then so the wheels kind of fell off at that point. I could sort of see, but then I got really uncomfortable.
Okay.
And something felt very dark
Okay.
about it. And it felt, I can only describe it as like a blackness and like tentacles or something sort of waving around. And I just pulled out, didn't want to look at it anymore.
Okay.
So sort of came out of that. So it just felt weird. And I hadn't tried to go back there again, put the fear of God in me, to be perfectly honest. So leaving that one alone till I spoke to you. So then last night, so that was Saturday. Last night, I've suffered from night terrors since I was very young.
Okay.
Haven't had one since September when I lost one of my dogs.
Okay.
And I had one night I lost him. And they always sort of the same path. I feel trapped, can't get up, can't make a noise, and then gradually sort of make a bit of a keener noise, and it gets louder and louder and louder, end up screaming. And either that dog that I lost, either he would be there and kind of be shoving me and wake me up, or if my husband's home, he would do it. My husband's away, that dog's not here anymore. One of my other dogs was standing over me when I came to, when I came round, and he just bolted out of the room and didn't appear again for the rest of the night. And he hasn't left my side pretty much since Murph died, but Ron just wouldn't be anywhere near me. And I can remember, I remember them vividly, or bits of them vividly anyway. And it felt like that same darkness again, but there was something vividly. It sounds really weird, and I don't know what it was. It was weirdly pink, and it was coming from my face, and I don't know what it was. It was coming from their face. It was coming to my face, and I just had this paralyzing fear, and I couldn't move. And then sort of came out of it. I didn't really go back to sleep. And I don't know I don't know if they're connected. I don't know if I'm trying to connect something. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it's I don't know, a block or something as I'm starting to unravel all of the other stuff that I haven't been able to do. Is it something to do with that?
Okay.
There's a question in there somewhere.
Okay, can I ask you a question? So
Yeah.
often when we get these, like intuitive kind of fearful things, so to speak, there's actually a message for something on in our psyche.
Okay.
Okay. So, and my sense is that this is related a little bit to your relationship. Remember, I see pictures of living.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of holding within your own worth, Louise, or your own truth? Breathe, 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 breathe. Go into your solar plexus. There, right there. Into your solar plexus and into your neck. There, right there. Right there.
I feel like, and this keeps coming up actually, I feel like I know what I need to do with the relationship, but I can't do it. Financially,
Sure.
all of the stuff, mother, all of that stuff,
Okay,
I just couldn't, I can't do it.
So what is it that the psyche wants to change for you to stay right now? What it's like there's a masculine piece, and it's funny because Press's question was the first one around what you're talking about masculine. Who is it you want to be so that you can stay in peace and in honor of who you are? Breathe. This is really big, Louise. This is what's been opening your third eye, is that you've been releasing a lot of stuff, so a lot of garbage is coming, so you can see now.
I don't know.
Got it. It's all about your worth, because I'm feeling it in your throat and your solar plexus. It's all about your worth as a woman, which is part of the thing. You don't see the worth that I see in you, Louise. Even when this call started, you're like, I don't know if you should ask my question. Maybe I should save it tomorrow. I'm like, dude, right? And that's why they said, no, let her make sure she speaks. Because she hardly ever puts her hand up. And all the containers she's in, she never puts her hand up. She has this deep fear of being seen and having her space taken up. And she keeps telling herself that she's less than everyone else. And that's what this is about. It's about shifting that.
Okay.
All in your upper to mid back. How is that feeling?
Yeah. Really uncomfortable and really true. Yeah.
And the fact that it's bringing up some tears is showing you how much you want to believe that, but the fear of believing it is there. So what if it is here? What if I do matter? What if I do count?
Yeah, then what the hell do I do?
Yeah, exactly. Then I can't hide anymore. Then I can't stay in the powerless role anymore. Then I have to show up in the role. I'm teasing you. Because you are showing. But you know what I mean? Then I have to show up as a superstar.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Okay. Yeah, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So is that the night terror stuff and why I can't connect to and then seeing all the black, whatever the hell it is?
Yeah, because essentially the night terror is what they're showing me. So if we look at like the words that are used in A Course in Miracles, and I don't use these words very often, but they talk about Christ and Antichrist, or love and fear, right?
Yeah.
The Antichrist can be, or the fear can be just as big. But what we have to understand is that the love is bigger. And every physical sensation, whether it be what Shannon's going through or night terrors, are a physical representation of something in your subconscious. That's showing up. So I'm going to swear right now, you're really afraid to fucking be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's leaking over into night terror. That's creating the night terrors, because at nighttime, the veil between us and them is very thin.
Right. Okay.
Right. And so it's like, wake up, girl, you count. That's why what really was feeling your solar plexus a lot as we were talking is they're like, this is what I keep seeing.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I feel. I feel like I want to shake myself and give myself a slap, to be honest. But
because that's what I keep seeing. This energy, it's not that the guides are showing, they're not. See, what you want to understand is when I see it, it's not like the guides are doing that, but they're showing me a symbol of the energy that they want me to say into words for you. So I don't want you to think your guides are sitting here like this. They're not. They're like, they showed me that picture to show you that picture.
Okay. Okay. So just keep working on the forgiveness stuff and all of that. And
the biggest thing for you is forgiving yourself for forgetting that you matter and count.
Yeah. I'm getting there bit by bit. It is coming. It's coming.
After your clairvoyance is coming along, it's huge.
Yeah. It feels like the biggest step I've made that I can see
Honestly,
shit
I
now.
don't know
So
if you
that's cool.
remember, if I rewind the clock to when you register and return to self 6 months ago or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I don't remember. You said I can't
yeah,
see anything, and when you said it to me today, I'm like, yes. And you didn't even come to Worcester. Be in Vancouver in April.
yeah.
Do you get it? Like it's.
Well, it's wild because you said I could channel, and I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I
But
can
now
see
look
shit
at
now.
you,
So happy days, yeah.
and that was only
Hey,
5 months ago. Whatever.
yeah.
You know me in time. It's yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you
So much
very
love.
much.
Okay. Hey Troy, how are you?
Hello, good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
So one of the things you've told me is to slow down, and kind of connect with the divine and kind
Yeah.
of go more inward versus outward.
Yeah.
And this is a struggle that I've had myself. And I was on a team meeting today, with work, and one of the things they're saying is the only thing you can control is our activities and behaviors. So, you know, track the activities and do kind of be more, do more. So you
Right.
do more activities, that leads to the results that you want, sort of thing. And so, where I struggle is how do you reconcile
Right.
those two things?
So there's the masculine and feminine. It's funny because a lot of masculine question today. So there's masculine and feminine. And the masculine is the thing is you can, especially in your business, you can constantly be doing, right? Constantly be doing 24/7 if you want. But then there's no time to sit still and go, I am the divine. And in my experience working with a lot of men and women clients, is the time you sit in stillness that can allow in the physical results of clients. Does this make sense to your brain? So it is finding that balance. But I have met a lot of people who do the type of work you do, and they're out knocking on doors 18 hours a day. And there's no time to sit in stillness. And I've met other people who do the same work you do, who sit in stillness a lot and knock on doors really little and have huge success too. But for you, it's the balance, and you have to trust your intuition. But you aren't doing enough of it. Weren't when I mentioned the sitting still, you weren't doing enough of that. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an internal moment by moment, day to day. Like the last 3 days, I don't think I've answered one email because the last 3 days, my guide said to just sit still. I was like, okay. So I did. But I can also sit for 5 hours and answer emails. So if you've emailed me or
Hmm.
texted me and I haven't responded, that's why. So
Okay.
does that help?
Yeah. So more use my intuition in terms of what I should be doing on a moment by moment basis.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Exactly it.
And what does that look like? Because I mean, I'm still developing my intuition and how that manifests in a way
Honestly,
that I can understand it.
I can't answer. I know the answer you want, and I can't answer that in the way you want me to answer it. Because they're saying to me he wants an equation. I said, okay, then fine, I'll give him an equation. If he does 5 or 6 hours of physical work, then give him half an hour to an hour of sitting still. And that sitting still could be crocheting, it could be meditating, it could be doing affirmations. But give him a 6 to 1 or 8 to 1, like 6 hours to 1 hour, 8 hours to 1 hour, if he needs an equation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They actually showed me numbers. I'm like, damn, okay, I'll give them numbers. Does that help?
Yeah, it makes me laugh though. Thank
You're so
you.
cute. You're welcome. And Louise, I don't know if you saw, but there's a couple comments on the side for you. Go. Okay. Hey, Judy.
Hello, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I just got back last night from a week in Palm Springs, which was lovely.
Amazing.
Stayed at my sister's. She has a beautiful home there. My brother and his wife were there as well. I just feel like, especially I woke up on New Year's Day and just felt like I had made no progress. I was feeling sorry for myself. You know, I'm there with my brother and his wife and my sister and her husband. And of course, my husband's missing. And it's hard not to feel that when you're with two other couples. And I think I've struggled all my life with my sister and I. Not that my mom meant to do it, but she kind of set us up where we were always kind of competing.
Right.
And I love my sister a lot, and I know she loves me. And we've over the years been through ups and downs, and we're in a good place. And she's been very supportive of me, you know, through my husband's illness and everything. But and we married cousins.
Oh, okay.
And my husband and I went the education, university, all that route. And he was a successful lawyer, and we've done fairly well. But she married more into a family business.
Okay.
And they are very wealthy.
Got it.
So, like, I feel like I'm a little kid again, struggling with being jealous of her, not only having all of the material things, like 4 homes,
right,
a yacht, and also having this great husband and he is, I love him.
Right.
But she's got it all. And I feel like I'm way back struggling, being jealous, not wanting to feel that.
Sure.
And I think, oh, shit, well, how have I got back to this place?
First off, give yourself a break. It happens to almost everybody, not everybody. It happens to a lot of people early January, just so you know. So some of the work they want you to do, if you're open to it, and I know you are open to the work, is to honor a lot of the decisions your husband has made about following education. Like, they're not wrong decisions. Does that make sense? They're beautiful decisions. And maybe even write them out, right? But see, what the ego does all the time is it constantly compares. Like, that's kind of its ammo.
And I hate comparing, but I'm doing it,
Me too. Oh, I know. It's like its favorite thing is comparison. And then to shift comparison is forgiveness. And I'm going to push you a little bit. I want you to start to imagine that your husband was sitting with you when the 2 couples were together and you were there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine, because if all minds are joined and physical body is just a vessel for his soul, he's there. And I know you know that intellectually, but I want you to be open to that. Got it? And the other piece of homework I want to give you is this idea of, like, she's better off than you are. That's something the ego loves to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know her to save my day. I know you a little bit, but one picture they showed me right away is you have incredible relationships. And this isn't about comparing that she doesn't, but you have to honor who and what you are. Does that make sense?
And I don't.
You don't.
There we go. I don't honor myself.
Yeah. And that's what this is about. Because that's why I said, for example, they said, for example, she has such incredible relationships. I was like, okay, I'll just say that. But that wasn't about putting your sister down.
No, I get that.
It was just like, do you get it? How does that feel?
It does. And I was actually talking to my daughter a bit about it. She said, oh, you should ask Divvy, because I've always felt I'm not good enough when I compare myself with her.
Yeah.
She's very outgoing and friendly and bubbly, and I'm much more introspective. I can be those things, but it's more effort for me. I'm, growing up, I was the quiet one.
Right.
And oh, isn't she great? She's doing, and so I've always felt I'm not good enough.
Right.
And now I find myself, I feel so childish saying this.
No.
I'm back to that place, and she has proved that she's got it all.
Proved in that perception of your brain in that moment. Because the perception that the shadow wants to do is that she has it all. And it's like,
I want to manifest some of these things and bring them into my life. But am I only manifesting to keep up to her? Or, well, not that I wouldn't mind, more money and all that. And the thing that I think that gets me is I would love to be able to do the things she does with her children. She's sitting there planning a 3-week vacation to Italy, and they're renting a villa and all these things. I thought, oh, I'd just love to take my kids to Disneyland or something. You know what I mean? Like, so much of what I want to do, I would love to be able to take these holidays with my adult children and grandchildren.
Right.
And she's even doing all of that.
Right. And again, I want you to see how much, like, the ego, just like a dog eating a bone, just went crazy on you. Do you see that?
Yeah, I know.
Right. And that's all that happened. And it happens a lot over the holidays. It happens a lot at New Year's. It happens a lot sometimes at birthdays and anniversaries. And it's just, you gave it a lot of bone. But then that makes you forget what you do have. And I guarantee, like, I bet you $1 million on this one. If I could interview your sister and talk to her, she has a perception that's identical to yours about her own lacking, but she's not going to show it to you. Does that make any sense up here to your brain?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just understanding that it's perception. Got it? But you're fixated here.
Yeah.
What I want you to do as your homework is, where can I see the abundance of what I do have in my life? the fact that you can, I'm straight up with you. I know this is, I'm comparing, you might think I'm comparing apples to oranges, but I'm not. The fact that you can even take your kids out for dinner, I know that it's like nothing compared to Italy, but it's not, it's about relationships. It's about those moments you spend with your kids. It's but the ego, no. It's about that villa, Italy. No. It's about the moment that I'm truly present for my children. See? But the ego's not, we don't want to believe that to save your day.
No, I know, because I'm immediately going, well, they have more opportunities to spend with their kids because of this place and that place and the boat, and they live close. It's just like, I just feel she has it all. And after losing my husband, it's just like really pushed me back.
Oh, perception. And here's the thing, and I think you've heard me say this probably before, I think. I've worked with clients who make more money than you'll ever imagine in your entire life. And I've met other clients who have more health than you'll ever have. But every human on the planet has one area of their life that needs healing. At least one. And right now you perceive yours are bigger. But when I tune into your sister, that's what I'm getting, at least. I'm not saying I'm right. There's stuff around relationships. There's stuff around truly, like, being with other people where she struggles. Truly being. So you think your struggle is this, her struggle is that big, but she may or may not see it right now. But the ego just insists on making you less than her. And like you said, I want to take out the words childish. Everybody has shadows of some sort. And what happens is as we age, those shadows get bigger until we start healing them. And the fact that you're even talking about this is saying, I'm ready to heal the idea that I'm less than my sister, because I'm done with that concept. How does that feel?
I definitely want to do that.
Yeah. And it's active forgiveness of the thought that I'm less than. It's active forgiveness of that inner child in you. And the pre-recorded videos of the Healing Lab, it's like week 10, 11, 12. It's forgiving the idea that she is more and you are less. And a lot of sibling relationships have that. Almost all do, actually. Does that land?
Yeah.
So maybe fast forward to those videos, like I think it's week 10, 11, 12, where we talk about the shadows and doing some journaling from that thought that she has it all, because it's just the physical representation. It's just eating away your subconscious of it. Yes.
Okay, thanks. I just felt like I went backwards,
and what I would say to you, and please don't take this the wrong way, it's never ending journey of like 4 steps back, 2 steps forward, 4 steps forward, 2 steps back, 6 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the journey. Because the ego just goes like, it's like a hammer claw, it goes, nope, you're not going anywhere.
And then I have the guilt because I think, oh, we had a great time and they're very generous, and but then I'm thinking, oh, I'm a terrible person to be.
Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute.
Enjoying that, plus being so envious of, I just spiral.
Where some of that relationship with the anger, remember we talked about the anger, actually gives a break to those thoughts. Remember how we talked about the anger at that workshop here in Vancouver? Like, okay, I'm sitting here spiraling in guilt and powerlessness, but anger actually will feel better. Will I give myself permission to that?
And I still don't.
I know you don't. That's why I
said Okay. All right. Thank you.
So much love, Judy. Hey, Nina, how are you?
Good, thank you. I have I don't know if it's quick. I have a question. It's kind of related to today's the abundance challenge. It's so funny that you read the first quote of the 40-day, because I actually read it last night and meditated on it, and then you talked about it this morning. But my question for that is and kind of related to Presley, because you were saying, what thought do you need? Like, instead of the forgiveness is like being more precise, or forget the word you use. But yeah, for me, the word that came up was like, what thought you need to kind of let go. And I don't let go of the outcome. Like, you are the cause, like, instead of like focusing on the outcome or the effect is what John Randolph said. And then it made me just, as you were talking, thinking about, okay, well, if I'm really being honest with myself, how can I not expect anything? Like, I am in abundance and in gratitude, and seeing it and trying to give with generosity, time, whatever, anything really, and being in the present. But then if I was just like thinking about this actually yesterday, if I'm really being honest, do I really expect nothing?
Like, you know what I mean?
I think, yeah,
And so I'm like, where is the hold? Like what, or what thought do I need? I don't know if that's like an intellectual question. Maybe it is. I'm not sure.
So it goes back to that thing I was teaching at the beginning.
Yeah.
When really what you want is you want to connect with God. Right
Yeah.
there, right there, where nothing is lacking. And I know what you mean. There is this like, I'd like this over here, I'd like this. But the more often you step into what you like, why do I love running retreats? Because for the 5 days I'm at the retreat, Divi is not there.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yes.
Divine Mother.
Letting God work through you. Yes.
Exactly. And it's so fun. Why do I hop on these calls and do this for an hour? Because it's the same thing. You got it.
I get it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I just have to let go of the fact that am I really not expecting?
I get that.
Yeah.
And it's that journey, like it never ends. It never ends. Is that right?
Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. That was, yeah.
Totally got it. Thanks, yeah. Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I think there's like a bunch of things kind of all coming in at the same time, and I'm like, which one do I bring up? I'm not sure. One is that I've like back in September was really had to like kind of make a break with the connection with my mom. Like I felt like I had to really set some like really like solid boundaries to just be like actually like it, and it felt like kind of like this ending of like what it feels like with my mom is like this downloading of like her stuff into me. Like that's what it feels like. Like I think the thing that I was telling her, like it just feels like you're like downloading your like pain and your struggles. And then it's like I take like it's like she had an eating disorder. I have an eating disorder, then I take it and I heal it. And then she had like this trouble and then I download it, I take it and I heal it. And it just feels like this like never ending like downloading from her. And so it was just like, oh my God, I need this to stop. Like, I feel like I've processed like a lifetime of your pain. Now I need to deal with like my pain and become who I am.
Right.
But there's a desire to repair the relationship. And we're like planning to meet this week to like talk about some of this stuff. And it's not like we've been like I'm like, oh, I've seen her, but we haven't like repaired the relationship. Like we had Christmas together. It's not like we've been like completely shut off. This feels like it's kind of coming in at a time where I'm also like feel like I'm like on the precipice of like stepping up, stepping out. And like part of the relationship with her has been like feeling like I have to kind of keep myself small in order to keep her from feeling like jealous or feeling less than, because she goes immediately to less than when anything good happens in my life. So it feels very painful to like celebrate like my wins and kind of step out on my own or do something different, because it just seems so painful for her. And so I feel like these two things are like connected together at this time. And I'm just trying to figure out like what the best way is to like approach the meeting with my mom. Like, is there like anything kind of
What's your mom's first name?
Susan.
Susan. Okay. And she goes by Susan or Sue?
She goes by both.
Okay, go.
Sue. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just start talking, okay? First thing I keep seeing is Susan's energy. She's beautiful, she's lovely, but one of her big lifetime soul things I keep seeing is about her stepping out of her pain victim and stepping out. And she may or may not do it on this planet on this time.
Mm-hmm.
Got it? So my mom and her mom can hang out together. Okay. And your mom, sorry, can hang out together. And one of the biggest things that we can do is allow them, which I know you do. You allow them. You allow her to be like that. Now, the thing though, I hear what you're saying, that you feel or perceive that I keep seeing a picture of like, almost like she puts a fish hook into you. That's what I keep seeing, like, a fishing line. Mm-hmm. And when and if she does it, it just means that not a huge fan of the word boundaries, but I'll use the word, your light isn't big enough. Like how I would describe it is, if you can hold your light big enough, then she can try to fish hook you all the time, but she can't touch you. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And really what she's asking you to do, what I keep seeing a picture of, it's almost like she wants you to feed into her poor story of like, poor me, which I know you know, but at the same time, hold yours. Now, in terms of moving forward, I never want you to think that you stepping forward is, and I know you know that Marianne Williamson quote, as I step, like, me stepping into my light gives other people permission to do theirs. Mm-hmm. And so I'd love you to think the more you step into yours, that you're giving her the permission that she could, if she chooses to, without a word that you have to say. I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, it's like it creates like a pathway, like it creates like energy for her to do the same. Whereas like I feel like for a long time it's like, oh my God, like you're the parent, like what, like I feel like, and like she's so in this victimhood, and even just like knowing that she may not shift out of that in this lifetime is healing, because I've been getting that more this time, where it's like maybe it won't happen this time, but that's painful as a child. To be like to see somebody in that and to be like there's so much potential in there, like there's so much peace that's available to you, like ah but I guess that is just like, well, I can do that, like then the work is just doing that for myself, like it's just
Exactly. Exactly. And as somebody who has lots of siblings or mother and father who never did it either, it's just like because what I heard was all your mom's soul really wants is you just to allow her to be who she is.
Oh.
Yeah, you got that. That's in your like left kidney area. It's just like allow.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. It'll be a shift of how to make that fun, I think, is the is the work.
Yeah, it's I would, as somebody who deals with the same thing on the human level, it's like I train my mind to see them in their magnificence just as they are.
Mhm.
Like, nope, they're amazing, they're this, they're amazing, they're this, they're amazing, they're this. And I just train my mind more and more that way. So then I don't see what's wrong.
Yeah.
Does that land?
Yeah. Even though it's like there's like this like it's almost like I kind of feel her as like being like bound, like yeah.
Totally. And that's the healer in you. And one thing you'll learn from me during Return to Self is always tell people, there's a billion clients out there.
Mhm.
Your family is not your client.
Mm.
I love you. And I say that to everybody, but it's challenging, right? My husband is not my client. My kid is not my client.
Mm.
Neither is
Mhm.
my family or my biological family.
Yeah.
If they want to step and do their own work, I can usher them to people who help them. But
Yeah.
I'm not their coach. I'm not their healer.
It's interesting. I also had a dream last night that I like had it was like I'm single right now, but I was like in a relationship and it was like so good. And we were like kind of like superheroes. We are like running around and like dodging bullets and stuff like this. And then he like pulled a bottle of like Pepto-Bismol out of his back pocket and was like taking sips of it. And I was like, what is happening right now? I'm like, I thought you were amazing, but you're like relying on Pepto-Bismol to like settle this thing. And it was just like flipped this whole I was like just ruined it for me. Like just ruined it. That he was like so human that he could like have that he could maybe need like the occasional sip of Pepto-Bismol, because I'm just like I don't use that in my own body. Like I don't rely on things like that. And yeah, it was just like fascinating where it was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm not his like if a partner, like yeah, I'm truly like not there either. Whereas that's the type of relationship that I've attracted in the past, is to like
Got it.
attract clients.
Yeah, like be their Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
And so the more you step, and so the training potentially for your mind, this is what I'm seeing, is we have to take that training that you're doing with your mind for your mom to everybody, your lovers, your kids, and so on. And because you're also a healer, the problem for healers, and I run to this all the time because I've taught tons of people like you over the decades I've been doing this work. How do I say it without sounding rude to them? No one can keep up to you. You're like and if I expect my husband to keep up to me, I'm only causing myself pain.
Right.
I have to honor whatever work he's doing on himself and have divine, it wouldn't be what I would do, but dude, I'm proud of you. You drove around in the car and got out of your head swirl. I love you.
Yeah.
That may not be what I would do, but honor you for doing that.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah. I think that's a big shift for me, for just like going into that, like allowing and just kind of allowing. Oh, and in that allowing though is also allowing myself to like, because there's a lot of energy for a lot of change that's like coming in right now. And so it's like, okay, so that allowing extends to myself as well.
Exactly.
Allowing me to be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful.
I love it. Your mom's your teacher.
Yes.
I love it. Thanks, Rebecca. Hey, Denise, how are you?
Hi, Divi. I'm good.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is my first time coming to this call, so I'm excited that I
Amazing.
get to ask a question. Thank you. So my question is around, I'm struggling with, I'm creating these goals. I know what I want,
Okay.
but I won't do it.
Okay.
Like I want to spend time painting. I want to spend time working on my therapy business. Like I want to spend time taking care of my body, exercising, getting back into routine. And something's just stopping me.
Yeah. I can totally see that. Do you want me to jump in with that?
Yes, please.
Okay. You've done shadow work before, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. There's an unconscious part of you, and I can see it. How I'll describe it. What I'm seeing is like sits right here, and it lands right on your solar plexus, and it's saying to me, "What's the point?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's the voice that's stopping you. And the thing that I try to teach people is it's not about taking a bulldozer and bulldozing over it. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
It's going, of course. I've got this part of me who says, what's the point?
That's the point.
Let me have, just like I was saying with Rebecca, let me have compassion for that. Huh. I see this part of me that has this idea that what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see that. Breathe. And like, that's the key. Got it? Because you can't push past that voice, but you have to honor that voice for being there.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
It's resonating, like I'm feeling the wash the point energy
Yep.
kind of becoming visible from the invisible realm.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's almost like an old pattern of childhood not being able to do what I want to do. So
Totally.
what's the point in even
Totally.
pushing forward?
And I'm going to take out the word pushing. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm just going to see that voice and go, oh yeah, there you are. Just like, having a 2-year-old having a temper tantrum. I'm just going, yeah, okay, gotcha. And I'm still going to like go to the gym today. Like, do you see see what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing? See what? But that's what I always teach people in shadow work is that voice is winning because you're not listening to it. Breathe, 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 and it's all up here. It's all right here in this part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when I listen to it, it softens and has compassion for it. Okay, I got you. You're there. Okay, cool. But then when I push myself out to go to the gym, I push against the voice. It's like a tug of war, and it wins because the subconscious always wins.
Mm-hmm.
When I allow it, like Rebecca is going to allow her mother to be her mother, energy cannot be created energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transmuted. So I'm going to love that voice and not make it wrong. Just like Judy has to love the voice that says that she's less than her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And not make her wrong. Go, oh yeah, I can see why I have that belief. But the truth is, I am the I am. And from that I am energy, Denise, you will get to the gym. So I get to the gym most mornings, not today. I get to the gym most mornings from this place of I want my body to be healthy so that spirit can run through her and be the best expression for the work that she wants to do through my body. That's how I get to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
As an expression of God through me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have voices that say, what's the point? I have voices recently that say, you're old. I'm like, really? Like, really? Like, do you get it? And it's that because at this age, my mother was already trying to die. She's still alive and she's 90. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, so that voice I can hear clicking in my brain. See what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, I got that voice. Cool. Because my mom taught it to me from the time she was my age or younger. She was like, I want to die. Right. So that voice has started in me. I'm like, oh, that's so wild. Right.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
It feels good. It gives me something to work something to work with in this moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it takes is like almost this kindness and generosity for being there. Because it's been trying to protect you since you were 2. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
What it's saying is it kept you safe from beating. I don't know if that's actually true, like actually, like, like real, like really, or if it's more that it thinks it kept you safe from getting hurt.
Did you just say it kept you safe from beating?
Yeah.
It's true.
That's what it shows.
My brother's laughing. Troy's my brother, and
Oh,
he's
no way.
cracking up because he knows exactly what that is.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. It did keep me safe. Yeah, it helped me out.
Like it's saying it showed me a slap, and sometimes when I see a slap, I don't know if that's actually that you actually got hit or if it's more like you were afraid of getting hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if it's actually a symbol for, right? So that's why I always say, saying you got to cut you for beating, but I don't know if the beating was real or if it was more symbolic. So it was useful at the time. Shadows are so Judy's useful. Shadow was useful as a time because so she could keep it to her sister. This was useful as a time because it was protective. But now it's stopping you from leaving the house to go to the gym or see your clients. Like, really? Let me thank you for protecting me, but I'm safe now. I'm going to love you, and you're going to hop on the stairmaster next to me, and we'll have fun together. How does that feel?
It feels good. Thank you.
Amazing. It's worked to me so well. Let's do a bit of a close. And I just got a message from Deb privately. So Deborah, I'll message you privately. I'm just going to cut and paste that so don't forget it. Let's take a quick close our eyes. Take a few breaths. Thank each other for these beautiful shares. Honesty, vulnerability, which is really big. Taking a few breaths. Slow, deep, conscious breaths. Taking your guides and your divine support team with you. Amazing. Sending you guys lots of love. What a beautiful call. Holy shares today. Have a beautiful day, guys. Enjoy it. Take care.